Alright, welcome back to Game 10 of Lucid's 2022 tournament, where we are playing Phlegra. It was turn 37. We finished Research and Enchantment, level 6. This is for our summons, like we've discussed. And we also finished Research in Evocation 3, moving on to Evocation 4. Like I said, we can get through that low-level Evocation research pretty quickly. We find a magic site, hopefully an earth site. No, it's an astral site, but, you know, more gems, always good. And then we have a couple of battles, two of which involve us. One of them is just Ulm probably clearing out the rest of that throne. We get attacked by Utgard, although this is us, just clearing out these wolves here. So this should be fine. I think this is our prophet. Yeah, with some Mouflon, I have faith. And indeed, they're able to take it with no losses. So, you know, glad to retake that. Sad that we lost it in the first place. This looks like Utgard raiding back. Yeah, well, a lot more than a raid. So moving one of their main armies forward in the north here. This is one of the provinces that we took. I don't think this is quite their cap circle, but as you can see, we didn't really leave a defense. They've got a lot of their some of their undead out in front as a screen. And then it looks like they have a communion here. Doesn't look like there's any gems, at least not on that master, so probably just Skelly spam, that is what we're seeing, and then of course a ton of their sacreds. So obviously we lose that province, but this is not unexpected. And then Ulm is attacking not a throne. It looks like this is a ping of a different throne. Looks like a more dangerous throne than the last one they went up against. Now there's at least two nasty casters here. Yeah, this is an Astral 5. Even Air 4 is a little on the scary side. A lot of gems here. There's also, I think there's just a Hill Giant. Yeah, that's fine. We have, another high-level Astral Mage. Yeah, Astral level 4. You can see they were throwing out some Enslaved Mind and some fairly dangerous troops as far as, throne troops go. These archers can actually deal a lot of damage, have long range. There's also some statues up here, which can be kind of annoying to punch through. And even a few crossbowmen along with, some other less good units, but still quite a bit to cut through. As far as thrones go, I'd say that's on the tougher side. Yeah, 273 total units there. Oh, right, and of course the 59 Springhawks, which had already taken flight, and they deal shock damage, so you're not going to have a lot of time to run through a script or anything like that with a thug. Some unexpected events. I'm sure these will be great. A series of unfortunate events. I think this is our misfortune. Minus 20 province income in our capital. Ouch. On the other hand, one of our bailiffs is afraid of bandits, so we get plus 10 defense in a place. I will take it. We patrol out a scout from Ulm. This is perhaps a little concerning because we don't really have a whole lot in the way to defend us against them. We're really kind of counting on them, not wanting to do a weird diagonal war because we don't have a very big border with them. But just because you catch a scout doesn't mean someone is planning on attacking. We're scouting plenty of people. We have no intention of attacking yet. And I'll catch you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. The main thing is we are launching an attack, finally, for real, hopefully, this time on Utgard. So we're going to use the speed of our Pretender, who's really the only multi-move unit that we have, wish I could say it was by design. It's not, but still we can utilize it. And she should be able to destroy the pretty substantial amount of province defense that we've seen on top of this fort, which will be very nice. And simultaneously, we will be moving out an absolutely massive army, mostly crossbowmen. We got some Mouflon. We have some of our Cyclops guys. We have some of our kitted Cyclopses, and we're going to combine it with our first Tyrant here, who's actually a hero, and we maybe want to, we're going to risk him. But like twice borning wouldn't be too crazy. I will say having some death on your Pretender as late age Phlegra I think is a reasonable thing to do because you don't have any death access until these guys show up, but then you have death magic, but you're probably going to have no death income since you haven't been able to search for it. So if you can jumpstart that with your Pretender, that's not a bad idea. So anyway, like twice borning this guy probably would have been good because we don't have a ton of Earth 4 running around, and that is pretty nice. So we're actually going to use him as a caster in this case, even though we've kitted him out here. Because I'm not really confident in sending, a lone super combatant or even a super combatant, with a couple friends to help buff him up, just against, a huge stack of those Garm herdings. So anyway, he's going to be making a bunch of our summons for us. He's mixed in here, right in here. And that's really the only other major addition. We'll probably include our Pretender as well, but she'll be set to cast Howl and so we're just going to have an absolute ton of chaff and the incinerate and the flaming arrows, and then a couple of our thugs with the midget mashers. Yeah, these guys down here. And then we're bringing a reload of shackled mages. So, we have like all of them moving out, but we're going to leave behind, I think, like 6 of them. Should be 6, hopefully. And so, we're going to move in 6 as communion slaves for the original battle. We're going to leave 6 in this province because the plan is to, I wouldn't say the plan, but the likely result of any major battle is going to be that, our communion's going to burn out. So we will have a communion reload ready to go. This is hugely expensive in terms of like research. This is also going to be hugely expensive in terms of gems. We're going to spend an absolute ton of gems on this battle. So, is it wise? I don't know. But we've kind of been going back and forth here for a while, and indecision is usually worse than a bad decision. So we're going to potentially make a bad decision here. The other thing is, didn't really coordinate with Vedheim. Has been kind of busy lately. I definitely had a chance to mention that we're going to be jumping on top of this fort. Vedheim, I mean, it's been like 5 turns or something since they said that they were going to jump on top of this fort. And, my whole period of absence where the sub took over, like, there's still no force from Vedheim on top of this fort. So, all's fair in love and war. If we bump, that could be a bit risky because, Vedheim can put together some pretty large stealthy forces. And, our Pretender can definitely take out a lot of province defense. But, against some of the Sacreds, like, I don't think we have any cold resistance. No, we do have some cold resistance. Excellent. Yeah, our Pretender is decently scary. Also, our Dominion has spilled over into this province, which is not a need to have the way our Bless is set up, but it's still nice to have. So anyway, there's an outside chance that we bump with Vedheim. I certainly could have reached out and let them know, like, hey, we're planning on jumping on this province, but, the last time we discussed it, they kind of not protested, but, they made it clear that they wanted to jump on that province, so I didn't really want to have that discussion again. They've had plenty of time to jump on it. They may have even, I haven't actually reviewed the turns that the sub took, so they may have jumped on it and, like, been kicked off of it. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're going to jump on it, and we're going to try to take it with our army following up. And then in the north, we're just going to play defense. I definitely was tempted to move out and defend this province, because if Utgard wants to sweep this out with their main army, like, that's okay, right? So we can move here, threaten this fort, which, might force them to withdraw. Or, if they move forward, then it's a very easy move for us to, protect our throne, versus if they move down to the south here, that could get a little annoying for us, as they could, penetrate somewhat deeply into our territory. This is a pretty substantial force, though, from Utgard, and we're a little weaker in the north here still. We don't quite have as many units. We don't have a Tyrant up here. We don't have our Pretender up here, since we're planning on attacking that other more southerly fort, because I do think it's going to be easier to make progress there since it's farther from Utgard's capital. So we're just going to hang out, do some more research. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. These PD types, this one's okay. I think this is Barbarians here, which is kind of nice, but I feel like moving to this location, not that useful. Utgard also reached out again, offering a better deal this time, but like still, I don't know, like a joint war against Atlantis, essentially, saying like, I could either have Raga or Atlantis, my choice. But, they're paying us in coin that they don't have, right? So we'd have to fight Atlantis. And, of course, they don't have a non-aggression pact. I do have a non-aggression pact. We've discussed how, like, the joint Atlantis war has its problems, though there are things we could do to make it work. End our nap with Atlantis now. Hold off on responding to Utgard. Once it ticks down, respond to Utgard. I just think that, it's like, I think it's going to be very difficult to have peace between people that are not equals, and I don't really think that Utgard feels, that we're equals. So I think that we would end up fighting Utgard anyway after Atlantis was finished. All that said, assuming everything works out and, Utgard is destroyed, Atlantis probably will be our next war. It's hard to say. I do think they probably are the weakest of our neighbors. Otherwise, not to dive again into diplomacy, our fort construction here continues, and we're, starting our patrolling here. There is a monster boar here now. Not sure when they showed up. Relatively recently. Well, I guess not that recently. So yeah, they're a pain to get rid of. So, we're recruiting, yes, just some infantry, really just for garrisoning purposes. although we will use them for patrolling. So yeah, continuing to try to control our unrest problems, continuing to try to recruit in some tyrants. We're going to recruit one more smith. This is really just to sort out our commander points. So we have a citadel, we get 3 per turn. So even though our tyrants take a whopping 6 commander points, we can get 1 every other turn, but just the way that our recruitment was, it's just weirdly offset. So this is really just because that bothers me and not because it's most efficient. We do get another smith out of the deal. I don't hate that. Marignan did get back to us. It sounds like Marignan will be attacking Vedheim next, so Vedheim definitely has their work cut out for them. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We do still want Xibalba. That is kind of a long-running desire, although definitely becoming less and less relevant. Interestingly, Utgard suggested that Vedheim was pretty much on their way out, since they were going to be fighting Marignan, Mictlan, as well as Ulm. And like Marignan, obviously we know they're fighting Mictlan. Marignan, we've gotten confirmation from Marignan that they will indeed be fighting Vedheim. Ulm is kind of an odd one. I think that, they do share a bit of a border here with Vedheim, but yeah, it'd be a bit of an awkward war for them. I guess, it's not as, they have 3 provinces, kind of. They're working on this last one that sort of border Vedheim, but this one doesn't actually connect. Not to mention that I don't think they really control too much of this area over here, so this might be like a 1 province connection. This is easily cut off from a lot of the rest of their territory, so that'd be kind of an interesting way for them to go. We'll have to keep an eye. We do have a few scouts around, so we should be aware if Ulm does decide to attack into Vedheim. Certainly if Vedheim did end up having to fight really essentially a 4v1, although I don't know how much Utgard is really going to be able to commit against Vedheim, so maybe more of a 3v1, and then it's a bit awkward for Ulm, so kind of a 2v1. So hard to say. Definitely diplomatically, Vedheim seems to not be in a great position. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We definitely don't want to tie ourselves too closely to Vedheim and their fate, since it's kind of looking like the diplomacy is turning against them for whatever reason. Recruitment-wise, still mostly shackled mages, partially for the cheapness, and then partially because we're planning on burning a lot of shackled mages out, and then otherwise sticking with indie recruitment. We are probably starting to get to the point where I don't know how many more witches we need. We do actually have a decent nature income, though we are spending a lot of it. Actually not as good of a nature income as I thought. Yeah, so we should probably slow down on the witch in recruitment, because we have more than enough for our forging purposes, as well as for our bug production. So we'll probably switch this fort over to producing oppressors, because right now we don't really actually have a fort that can produce oppressors for us, right? Because we're recruiting throne mages from here, independents from here, and then these are both being used for shackled mages, and then of course our capital for tyrants, which means that we're kind of making no usable battle mages, which is not great. I mean, other than the independents, no national usable battle mages. So yeah, we'll probably convert this fort over to oppressors. Still producing some troops, mostly infantry, some Mouflon as well. I think it's probably Mouflon down here. Yeah, Mouflon definitely are our most useful units. Yeah, okay, so actually mostly Mouflon. Probably Mouflon, yeah, mostly Mouflon. A little more infantry. We are going to want more infantry just, again, for bodyguards on our commanders. Or sorry, rather our mages. And yeah, I think that more or less covers turn 37.